$30 million. That's how much I've made selling digital products over the last 5 years. Not courses about dropshipping, not coaching calls on crypto, simple digital products like PDFs. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I'm not telling you this to flex. I'm telling you this because almost none of that money came from what you think it came from. It wasn't from one viral video. It wasn't some lucky product launch. It wasn't some hack or some loophole that's gonna get patched and disappear next month. $30 million came from one system, a single set of decisions that I made when I was complete broke, some when I was already doing well, that compounded over each other over the last few years. And in this video, I'm going to break down the entire thing, not the surface level stuff that you've probably already heard. Go watch someone else's channel for that. I'm gonna walk you through the step-by-step actual architecture of how to build a digital product business that goes from $0 to $100,000 per month. The strategic decisions, the phases, the math, the thinking behind all of it. Because here's what nobody wants you to know. There are 1,000 videos right now teaching you how to make your first digital product. There are almost 0 videos explaining why some people make 30 million and those people make 300 bucks, if that, from the exact same business model. The difference is not how hard you work. It's not effort. It's not even the product. It's the system underneath. And that's exactly what I'm going to give you today. My name is Richard. I run multiple digital product businesses. I built my own AI software company to over a $20 million valuation. And I've helped over 3,000 people build digital product businesses. And a couple months back, I was even featured in New York Times Square for the impact that I've had on my students. And everything I'm about to share with you, I learned the hard way. So here's what we're covering. First, why I chose digital products over every other business model out there, and a key reason that most people miss. Second, how I went from a $500 digital product to a multi-million-dollar ecosystem, and I'll break down the exact sales and revenue at each stage. Third, why most people getting attention, traffic, completely backwards, and the compounding asset that no one's talking about right now. And fourth, the engine that turned all of those pieces into a $30 million business empire, and why I spent over $300,000 buying up other people's programs, consulting in order to build this. This is not a beginner tutorial. This is a strategic breakdown that I wish someone had given me when I was 21, broke, and folding burritos for minimum wage at a fast food restaurant, trying to figure out exactly how this works. Let's get into it. Let me start here. Before I ever made $30 million, I made $0. Actually, I lost money multiple times. I was studying biology as a pre-med student at UCLA. I tried everything. I started a jewelry business selling to fraternities and sororities. I flopped in 6 months. I tried dropshipping, and I built a business to $30,000 a month. But what the gurus forgot to tell me is that after ads costs, after shipping, returns, disputes, and overhead, I was literally losing money even though my top line revenue was $30,000 a month. And then I started an ATM business. I borrowed money from my dad who just lost his job. I bought the ATM machine, put it in a local restaurant, and that machine ended up getting robbed. It went nowhere. And through all of that, I kept noticing the same thing. Every single guru was selling me on their business models, but they were all making their money doing one thing. Not from dropshipping, not from trading, not from real estate. They were making their money selling me information, a course, a PDF, a coaching program, a mentorship. These are all digital products. That dropshipping guru that you love following, he sells you a dropshipping course. I'm sorry, but that trader, that crypto community, I'm sure they're great. I'm sure the community's fine, but the trading community is a digital product. Every single one of these creators that you like spending time following had figured out the same thing that I was about to figure out. Digital products are structurally different from every other business model. And I don't mean they're better in some vague motivational sense. I actually mean, factually speaking, it will make you more money. You will compound more wealth than any other type of product out there. Physical product, services, agencies, they cannot replicate this model. Let me explain what I mean by this. When you sell a physical product, take this watch for example, every additional sale costs you more money. You have to have a factory that produces the product, you have to ship it, and so there's physical cost, there's insurance, there's customer service. When people return the product, you have to send it back to a warehouse. Your costs continue to scale upwards linearly as your sales and revenue go up. So if you sell 10 units, let's say your cost is X. But if you sell 10,000 units, your costs are even higher. That's the trap of physical products. You can for sure grow your revenue, but your margins stay razor thin, which means you barely have any profit at the end of the day. So you might say physical products, that's out of the equation, but what about services? People say start an agency, growth operator, have an AI agency. These are all forms of selling services. These all are basically just a different way of saying the same problem. Every new client that you land when you sell a service is now your new boss. You're trading time for money on a one-on-one basis. And the only way to grow now is you need to hire more people. But as as you hire more people, that eats away into your profit margin, and that also adds management complexity. Do you want to manage a big, complicated team? I watched a friend build an AI agency to $20,000 a month with 10 clients. 10 clients paying $2,000. Sounds great, right? He was working 70 hours a week, and he wanted to quit every single day. Digital products didn't work like this. You create something once, a course, an ebook, a coaching framework, a template, and the marginal cost of the next sale is basically zero. Because whether I sell 10 copies or 10,000 copies, my costs stay the same. That's not a small advantage, that's a fundamentally different economic structure. And here's the part that most people miss. It's not just about the profit margins, it's what the margins allow you to do. When you're keeping 80 to 90% of every dollar you make, you have room to reinvest aggressively. You can build better products, you can build software, you can hire a team, you can invest into the stock market and grow your wealth long term. You can create systems that run without you. Physical product businesses and agencies, they can't do that. They're always fighting to protect the thin margin. I'm not saying this theoretically. My very first digital product was a $500 productivity course that I sold to college students and young 9-to-5ers. I was 21 years old. I had no business experience, no audience at the beginning. I made a course because a business coach that I hired told me, Richard, you wake up at 5 a.m. in the morning, you're productive, you have decent grades, just package it into a digital product and sell it. And 8 months later, I did $500,000 in sales at a 90% profit margin from one product. And that was the moment that I finally understood I wasn't just building a business, I was building a financial structure that could finally compound. Everything that I earned could be reinvested into better content, better systems, better tools, without the bleed that every other business model forces on you. And that structural advantage is the foundation of everything I'm about to teach you. And if you don't understand this, then none of the tactics matter. Now, if you're watching this and you're thinking, okay, I get why digital products are structurally better, but I still don't really see how one single product gets you to $30 million in sales. Good, because that's exactly the mistake that most people make. They think the answer is more traffic, more ads. Usually, the problem is that they only have one product. So let me walk you through exactly how my business evolved. Because the journey from a $500 productivity course to $30 million wasn't a straight line. It was a series of strategic pivots. And I can show you the revenue at each stage. You can see how this actually compounds in the real world. Now, the phase one is, I'm 21, launch a $500 digital product course for college students. One product, one price point, one audience. That first month that I launched, March 2020, I did $50,000 in a single month. 100 students, $500 per customer. By the end of 8 months, I sold 1,000 units, $500,000, 90% profit margins. But then I noticed something. Not everyone could spend $500. Some people wanted a cheaper way in. My best students, the ones getting really results, they wanted to go way deeper. They wanted more access, more mentorship, more intensive help. And so I was serving only one slice of the market and I was ignoring everything above it and below it. So I started building what I call a product ladder. At the bottom of the ladder, you need low ticket products, $15, $27, $47, simple digital products like an ebook, a template, a quick win PDF. The goal of these is not to make you wealthy. The goal is just to get someone into your ecosystem. They experience your thinking. They see the quality. They start to trust you. And because the price is so low, the decision is almost frictionless. And that's how you turn a stranger into a customer. Now, in the middle of the ladder, you have your mid-ticket offers, a few hundred to maybe $1,000. This is where the real teaching happens. A structured course, a group program, a community with direct access. This is where the volume revenue lives. And at the top, you have your high ticket, intensive mentorship, done for you services, small group programs where you're building something for someone else's business alongside them. The serious revenue lives here, not because of volume, because of the price point and the depth of transformation. Now, phase two of my business was exactly the shift. By December 2020, I pivoted from teaching productivity to teaching people how to build their own digital product businesses, because that's what my students, my friends, my peers, that's what they all ask me for. They don't want to learn how to wake up at 5 a.m. anymore. They want to know, Richard, how the heck did you make $500,000 in 8 months helping other people and getting paid to do it? So I launched a $5,000 mentorship. And that month I enrolled a little over 30 clients. Some people took paid in plans, some people paid in full. I remember specifically, it was $118,000 in a single month from one brand new offer. And that confirmed that the pivot was right. From there, the business exploded. By April 2021, I was at $150,000 a month. I hired my first sales team, setters, closers to replace me on the enrollment calls. By May, we did $380,000 in a single month. We'd grown 2.5 times in less than 30 days. By August, we did $700,000 in a single month. That's the product ladder in action. Same audience, same brand, but I was capturing value at every level. From people that couldn't afford the mentorship, we gave them the low ticket product. For people that wanted more intensive help, we offered them a higher ticket, higher level coaching. One customer journey could go from $15 to $4,000 to $10,000 over time. And here's the part that should really click for you. I didn't need a different audience for each level. It's the same people. The same audience that finds you through a $15 product can eventually become a $10,000 client if you build the path for them to walk. You see, most people are out here trying to find more customers. The real leverage is actually getting more value from the customers that you already have by building the infrastructure to serve them at every level. All right, so now you understand the structural advantage and you understand the product architecture. The question everyone asks next is, how do you actually get people to see your products? And if you've ever felt like you're posting content every day and nothing is happening, you're working hard but results just don't match the effort, I want you to pay close attention here because you're not alone. Because this is where most people fail than anywhere else. Not because traffic is hard, but because they think about it completely wrong. This is what most people do. They create a product, they make a few social media posts about it, they get a handful of sales, and then they start chasing the next trending audio, chasing the algorithm, chasing collaborations, chasing paid ads, and they burn out not because they're lazy, but because they built a content treadmill instead of a content machine in assets. Let me explain the difference, because this distinction changed how I think about my entire business. A content treadmill is when every piece of content that you create is a standalone bet. You post it and it either works or it doesn't, and tomorrow you basically start from scratch again. And you're gambling every day, hoping the algorithm picks it up. That's exhausting, and it doesn't compound. You're renting attention, and the moment you stop posting, the attention stops. A content asset is completely different. Every piece of content that you create has a job within a larger system. Some content exists to attract new people into your world. Some content exists to deepen trust, to show them that you actually know what you're talking about. Some content exists to convert, to move someone from "this is interesting" to "I need this." And this whole machine runs on a simple, repeatable process that doesn't depend on a single post to go viral. But here's the thing that nobody is talking about right now, and this is the real reason why I believe that content is an asset, not a treadmill. Every piece of content that you post stays posted. It sits there, it grows, it accumulates. The platforms keep serving it to new people, days, weeks, sometimes months after you hit publish. Think about what that means over time. If you're posting 2 to 3 pieces of content a day, which might sound like a lot, but with AI handling the scripting, the editing, the captions, it takes a fraction of the time that it used to. And after 90 days, you have 270 pieces of content working for you. After 6 months, you have over 500. Each one is a doorway into your product ecosystem. Each one is out there attracting, building trust, converting. And whether you're sitting at your desk or sleeping, that's not a treadmill, that's a library. And libraries compound. Now, the way you build this library matters. You don't start from scratch every day guessing what to post. You find what's already proven to work in your space. What topics, what hooks, what formats are already getting attention, and then you model after that. Not copy, you just simply model. Same underlying concept, but your angle, your proof, and your experience, that's what separates content that gets views from content that gets customers. And when I say AI changed the game here, I really mean it collapsed the time barrier almost entirely. The part that used to drain all your energy, writing scripts, editing clips, generating captions, formatting posts, AI does all of that now. What's left is actually just the part that matters. Your insight, your perspective, your creativity. That's the stuff that cannot be automated. That's the stuff that builds trust. And now you actually have the time to focus on it. This is why some of my top students have gone from 0 followers to real monthly revenue in 60 to 90 days, not because any piece of content went viral, but because they accumulated enough content assets that the system just started generating results on its own. The library reached critical mass, and once that happens, the growth starts to feel automatic, because it kind of is. Now, and this is important, content alone doesn't build a $30 million business. Content is the acquisition engine. What turned that engine into real compounding revenue is what the content feeds into. And that's the third thing I'm going to show you. All right, so this is the part that really matters here. And this is what no one is talking about right now. If you've been taking notes, you now have these 3 components. You understand why digital products are structurally superior. You understand how the product ladder captures value at every level. And now you understand how content assets compound over time instead of burning you out. But here's the thing. Components sitting next to each other don't build $30 million businesses. What builds a $30 million business is connecting those components into something that feeds itself. I call it a flywheel. Let me show you what I mean. The content reaches new people. Some of those people grab your free course, they click through it to your low ticket product, and now they're in your world. Percentage of those people will buy your mid ticket product. They get results. The results become proof, testimonials, screenshots, case studies. That proof now goes back into your content. Your content gets more credible. More people trust it. More people click through. More people buy. And now the cycle accelerates. More content produces more buyers. More buyers produce more proof. More proof produces better content. You seeing how this goes now? Each rotation of the wheel moves faster than the last. That's why it's called a flywheel. It's not a funnel where people pour it in the top and then they fall out somewhere in the bottom. It's a system where every output becomes an input for the next cycle. And the more it runs, the harder it is to stop. Let me show you how this played out within my business. When I started out, I had one product, no proof. I made content about productivity because that's what I knew. I tracked college students. Some of them bought my $500 course. A few of them got incredible results. Those results became my first testimonials, and I put those testimonials in my next round of content. That content converted better because now I had more proof, not just promises. More students came in, more results happened, more proof accumulated, the wheel started turning. And then something interesting happened. My students started asking, how do I be more productive? But rather they said, how did you build this business? They saw what I had done and then they wanted to learn the system, not just the topic. So I pivoted. I started teaching people how to build digital product businesses. New product, new audience, but the same flywheel. And this time it was already spinning because I now had years of accumulated proof, my own revenue, my own student results across dozens of different niches, video game coaching, fitness productivity, English teaching, hairstyling, you name it. And when I launched the offer, I wasn't starting from zero. I was starting with a flywheel that had momentum behind it. But here's the part that really accelerated things. The flywheel doesn't compound in just one direction. There's a second loop that most people never build. And it's the one that made the biggest difference for me. I took the profits from the flywheel and then I reinvested them. Not into ads, into myself, into mentors who were 2 or 3 steps ahead of where I was. When I had $5,000 to my name, I invested $3,800 into a coaching program. That felt insane at the time, but that mentor taught me the skill of how to generate my first $500,000. After that, I invested into learning YouTube strategy, then $25,000 into learning how to build a real coaching staff and a real advisor and a real sales team, and then $18,000 into a sales coaching program. All of the last 5 years, I invested over $300,000 collectively into different coaching programs and consultants and mentors. And that $300,000 has directly contributed to the $30 million. That's the second loop of the flywheel. Revenue goes out, better skills and systems come back. Those skills produce more revenue. That revenue gets reinvested into the next level of capability. It compounds, not just financially, but in terms of what you're capable of building. And I'll tell you something, every inflection point in my business from $50,000 a month to eventually $500,000, every single one of them came when I invested into a coach, into a mentor who showed me what I couldn't see on my own. Not a course, not a YouTube video, a real mentor with aligned incentives who could look at my business and tell me exactly what needed to change. So when I say 30 million came from a system, this is what I mean. The flywheel isn't just content and products, it's content, products, proof, reinvestment, capability, and growth, all feeding each other in a loop that accelerates over time. Now here's what I need you to understand. You don't need 30 million in revenue to have a flywheel. If you have one product and your content creates buyers and those buyers get results, those results feed your next piece of the flywheel. You have a real flywheel. It might be small, it might be slow, but it's spinning. And every rotation builds on the last one. And the people that I've seen build real lasting businesses, not just a lucky month or good launch, but actual sustainable income, they all figured this out at some point. They stopped thinking about individual sales and started thinking about a system that generates sales on its own. Sales are an event. A system is an asset. And $30 million don't come from 30 million worth of effort. It came from building a system that compounds over 5 years. So let me bring this all together. The reason I've been able to build what I built isn't because I'm smarter than you. It's not because I work harder than you. It's not because I studied from UCLA. I was planning to go to medical school. I had zero business background. When I started, I was folding burritos for minimum wage at a fast food restaurant, drowning in student debt. I picked up Lime electric scooters at nighttime to charge them to make an extra few $100s a month. What I had was a business model with the right structure, a product architecture that captured value at every level, a content system that compounded into a library instead of burning me out. And I had a flywheel that connected all of it, including reinvesting into mentorship, into something that fed itself and accelerated over time. Those 4 things are the architecture behind $30 million. Not one trick, not a launch, a system. And I'll tell you, you can build this. Every component I just walk you through is more accessible right now than at any other point in history. AI has collapsed the technical barriers. Platforms are giving free distribution to new accounts. The digital product market is $300 billion and growing. there's room. But here's where I know from working with over 3,000 individuals. Most people watching this right now, they're not going to start by building the full architecture I just showed you. And they shouldn't. That's the destination, not the starting point. The starting point is getting your first product, your first content, your first sales. Fastest way with the lowest barrier to entry is something that I call AI product arbitrage. You don't make your own product. You don't need an idea. You just take proven digital products that already exist, use AI to create simple content around them, and you earn commissions. Sometimes 50, 70, even 90% commissions in every sale. No inventory, no customer service, no technical skills. This is how most of my successful students get started before they ever build their own product ladder or their own flywheel. They just started with arbitrage. They learned the skills, they built proof, and then the flywheel started spinning on its own. And I put together a full masterclass training that breaks down the exact AI system that my students and I use step by step. How to find the right products, how to create the content, how to set up the system so it runs on semi-autopilot without you. Just tap this video right here and click to watch. And if you're serious about getting into digital products, but you don't really know where to start, this training your first move. Drop a comment down below and let me know which part of this video today hit the hardest, that you appreciated the most. And if you know someone stuck in the cycle of trying different business models, make sure to get them this video. So go ahead and tap on this right here, and I'll see you on the other side.